Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. Today we are going through and breaking down the new top 10 best meta loadouts you want to be running in Warzone post Season 2 Reloaded update. Obviously, the mid-season update that dropped earlier on this week changed up a decent amount. We got a brand new weapon. We saw various different buffs and nerfs. So the top 10 best loadouts you want to be running are going to be looking a little bit different this half season. So jumping right in, first up, as always, I want to go through and do my perks and equipment. This is the same on every single class setup, so I only have to go through this once. I'm still always running smokes for my tacticals. These are beyond clutch. They are instantaneous cover. If you need to rotate, if you need to res, whatever the case may be. I'm also still running throwing knives most of the time. I mean, I play a lot of Resurgence. These are the go-to there anyways for the insta finishes, but they did nerf the frags a little bit with this update, which is kind of a bummer. They're still decent, but they're not as strong as they were before. Semtexes would also be perfectly viable here as well. As far as perks go, still for the most part running the same package here as well. Mountaineer and double time, clutch. I don't have to worry about fall damage. That's incredibly important for me. I like tempered just because I like to sort of double dip here. I go for tempered as a perk, and then I go for med vests in game so I can get the quick res there. I feel like I find those very frequently, and not having to plate up 3 times is obviously great. Then flex, it's still helping out so much with footsteps. Even though they have adjusted audio recently, I just find it to be so much more consistent when I've got that on there. So like I said, that's the same on every single setup. Now we can just focus on guns. First up here, we got a deadly duo, the SVA 545, arguably the best rifle in the game right now, paired with the Ram 9, arguably the best SMG right now. So this setup fries. It's also very easy to use. The SVA, whether you're using it in hyper burst or in full auto, is super easy. I have been throwing on the glassless optic a lot as of late, even for some long range builds like this one, just because it's a clean optic. It's a blue dot. It helps out that firing aim stability. It's solid. Now, a 2.5 times scope is also great for mid to long range, so you could flip-flop either or there, but that'd be my top 2 recommendations for optics. But usually you should be going for comfortability there, so whatever one you're the best and most comfortable with, use that optic for sure. Basic 60-round mag here, Bruen heavy support under barrel per usual. Helps out, of course, with that firing aim stability. The idle sway, the horizontal control makes the gun way more predictable. If you're going for semi-auto, though, you don't need this. You could use something to speed it up elsewhere just because there's no recoil in semi-auto. I got the Spirit Fire suppressor, keeps me off the radar, adds in some range, velocity, and control. Then the precision barrels helping out with sway, control, velocity, and range per usual there. So a nice little 4-in-1 combo, basically. Thing fries, not all that different post-update, although it was buffed, so it's going to be even more aggressive now. Then for the Ram, all the barrels got buffed, essentially, all the main meta ones, including the Imperator barrel. It's now going to be even more versatile here. So helping out with the range and velocity there and the strafe speed, I love that. I go for the Zem 35 compensator. This is perfect for a lot of SMG builds because it hurts your velo, not a huge deal for SMGs, but it gives you decent control with very minimal cons elsewhere. So really like that, makes the weapon even easier. DR6 hand stop here, going to help out just general mobility, movement speed, ADS speed, strafe speed, sprint to fire, makes it more snappy and aggressive. We got the 50-round extended mag. Then I go for the motion tac pad stock. Helps out with that sprint to fire and ADS speed once again. Also, ultralight would be a pretty good one as well for what it's worth. Each of those, I like the mobility benefits they include. But yeah, you pair these together, you got a great class setup. And for what it's worth, you can mix and match a lot of the primaries here today too. Next up here, we've got one of my main sniper loadouts. And this is, in fact, featuring the Ram still on. And I know what you're saying, Zach, wasn't this nerfed? Yes, it was. They dropped its first damage range by about 8 meters or so. So its close range and mid-range TTK is not going to be as quick as it was pre-update. It's still very good in the close range and in the mid-range though, right? So this setup's adjusted a little bit to factor in that. I still am using the glassless optic here now just because why not? It makes it so easy and it's so clean. 60-round extended mag. I'm going for Bruen heavy support still. Cassis break on here, going to make this basically feel like it has no recoil. I would use Zem. That would be a decent one. It is going to hurt your velo some though, so just keep that in mind. Either or there is going to feel good though. Then the Cormark heavy barrel, range, velocity, control added on there. So even though this is built somewhat like you would build a long range rifle, it works really well for sniper support just because it's an aggressive AR as is. And especially now, this is where it's going to thrive the most in like the mid range, even after the nerf. So it pairs well with a sniper. And in this case, we got the cat. This is our one-shot cat build. So at any range, this will one-shot to the head, and it is almost hit scan. It's the most hit scan like sniper that we have in the game, I guess you could say. I go for the Nightfall suppressor, 15% to the velocity there. Zang barrel, 10% to the velocity on that. High velocity ammo adds in another 20% to the velo there. there, so that's obviously clutch at getting that up and over 1,000. I also go for the tactical pad stock. This is going to help out with ADS speed. Then just behind the face cam here, I've got the quick bolt, which just allows me to get those shots off a little bit faster. So it's only a 5-round mag. You want to be able to make sure you get those thirsts or those finishes as soon as you possibly can. So if you need a screenshot, there you are. But yeah, in terms of sniping, this is still the absolute meta. Next up here, we got one of my favorite loadouts at the moment, the Bruen, and then also the HRM. A phenomenal SMG, great TTK, great mobility across the board, and the Bruen got buffed even more with Season 2 Reloaded. It was already the best LMG in my opinion. It's now frying even more. It's more aggressive, has a better lower body multiplier, so this thing's feeling phenomenal right now. So I do go for the 2.5 times Eagle Eye here. If you wanted to use, you know, the glassless, that'd be a really good choice here too. 60 round extended mag, Bruen heavy support, Spirit Fire suppressor, sort of the basic copy and paste extended mag under barrel muzzle there. Then I go for the Horizon barrel. This helps out with just control and then velocity. However, ferocity is really good too. It helps out with range and velocity. So if you're super comfortable with this gun, use ferocity. If you want that added control as a safety net, use Horizon. Either way, you can't go wrong. The Bruen is a beast right now. Then for the HRM, not really all that much changing here. Going for no stock. It is going to hurt the control a lot though, and I know some people aren't going to love the bounce that it has, so you could always just upgrade over to the Hatchet light stock here instead. That'll still be faster, help out with some movement, but it won't be as crazy, you know, in terms of the recoil bounce as no stock. But no stock is very, very fast, and that's why I go for control elsewhere. Like I got the Princeps long barrel on here, extending that range, and then also the velocity, but the firing aim sway as well. We got the compensator on here, Zem 35 yet again per usual, the angled underbarrel, which helps out with that horizontal control, making it a lot more predictable, and then just our basic 50 round extended mag here. Such a fun SMG. I love the feel of it. Now loadout 4 features our brand new SOA Subverter battle rifle, and I pair this with the Striker 9, a phenomenal SMG as well. The SMG category is just so competitive that you got so many solid options, right? The Striker 9, it's easy, it's low recoil, and this setup right here absolutely flies and fries. So first up here, Zem 35 compensator per usual on the SMGs there, makes it easier. Striker long barrel, where it's got that fast TTK, that range has been extended. We love to see that. Don't love the irons, so I just go for the Nydar model 2023. Glassless would work here, a slate would work here. It's all preference. 50 round extended mag, no stock. You can get by with using this just because it's such an easy SMG. Love how snappy and aggressive this is. And our new SOA Subverter, man, this thing can be built in a lot of different ways, and all of them are going to feel good. It's a low recoil gun. This is sort of built out to be a hybrid of mid to long range, and I love the feel of it. Resurgence, it fries. BR it fries. I'm really finding a lot of success with this thing. It's a solid BR. So we've got 2.5 times Eagle Eye. Again, if you want to use glassless for like more mid-range, go for it. Even for long range, go for it. Again, just preference there. 50 round drum. I love the fact that it has this. A lot of the other battle rifles are pretty limited in their ammo. 50 round drum and a good fire rate while having good control. It's checking all the right boxes here in the weapon category. Bruen heavy support on a barrel yet again per usual there. I do go for Cassis break here. I don't want to hurt that velocity. We've got it at 850 right now. That's sufficient for long range, so I just want to make the gun as easy to use as possible there. Then I go for the Dozer 90 long barrel. Helps out with range, velocity control, and a little bit of firing aim stability as well. So really, really good battle rifle. Of course, it's a new one. It's going to be good. That's usually how COD implements them. By the way, as we are going through all the loadouts here today, quick reminder, if you are new to the channel, every single day, I got you covered with news, updates, patch notes, meta breakdowns. Everything going on in COD is right here, so feel free to hit that subscribe button and of course turn on those post notifications. And if you enjoy this video or if you find it helpful at all, do me a favor and drop a like on it. It's always really appreciated and it does really help the channel grow. Now after that, we do have another battle rifle SMG combo. It's just the BAS-B, which is still really solid. It's just you know, sort of fallen off some recently. I have made some changes to it, but for the most part, mid to long range, it can still hold its own just fine if you're accurate with it. Then I also go for the Wasp 9 as a secondary here. Also love the feel of this thing too. I go for the glassless optic. It's going to make it nice and easy. It's already relatively easy, but this just sort of adds that safety net there. 50 round extended mag, very basic. The hand stop, so better mobility across the board, making this nice and aggressive. It's so easy that I just go for a basic suppressor here just to stay off the map, because why not? If I'm using this in the close range, it's nice. You could also go for the Zem 35 though if you wanted to. No real wrong answer there. Just do you want to stay on the map or do you want even more recoil control? Totally up to you. And I go for the light barrel. ADS speed, sprint speed, just helping out that mobility there. Makes it even more aggressive on an already easy to use SMG. That's the best of both worlds right there. Then for the BAS-B, not really all that much changing here. 2.5 times optic, glassless would be sufficient too. 45 round extended mag, a little bit limiting, but it is what it is. Bruen heavy support, Venom long barrel, range, velocity, sway, control, adding in everything you need for mid to long range builds. Then you could either go Zem 35 compensator here. You could also end up going for, a Spirit Fire suppressor if you wanted to. You could use Cassus Break here. Totally, again, comes down to just how you want the gun to feel. You got plenty of options in the compensator and muzzle category to fit your needs, whatever they may be. So definitely versatile in that sense. Next up, we got another sniper loadout. It's the more aggressive of the two because it's the Stalker, which can only end up one-shotting within its first damage range. And as we can see here with this build, that's 70 meters. Now, I think you can extend this out to about 80, 83 meters, something like that with all of the range-based attachments. I don't like how slow it is though with that kind of build. This is a much faster ADS build and it's got good range. 70 meters is totally sufficient for a lot of aggressive sniping. So I do go for that Stoic suppressed barrel on here. Don't love the base scope, so I just go for the 6.6 times. This is all preference based though. I just happen to be really comfortable with this optic. I also go for no stock on here, better movement, better ADS speed across the board. I go for the high grain rounds here because this will extend out that damage range some, which of course is great. And then just behind the face cam here, I'm again using the light bolt just to get the faster shots off back to back to back. So if I get a knock, I can get that quick cleanup, or if I don't hit a headshot and I just break their armor, I can get that finishing shot and knock them down rather quickly there. So fantastic aggressive sniping setup here. And then to complement that, I've got the best sniper support option in the game, in my opinion, the AMR9. You could use this as an SMG or an AR, and this complements a sniper setup so well. For an SMG, it's got no business being this good in like the mid-range, but it is. So I go for the Zem 35 compensator yet again, still at 590 velocity. So good for an SMG still, and it makes it easier to use. Skeletal vertical grip helps out the sprint to fire, which this gun really suffers from, having a slow sprint to fire. So any help we can get there, the better. That helps out with that and gives it some better control. So you like to see that. That's nice and convenient. 50 round extended mag, glassless optic, of course. Then I go for the buffer tube stock. Really helps out the sprint to fire and ADS speed alongside the other general movement, but it keeps the gun easy because we've got these other attachments helping out with the control. So I really do enjoy the feel of this one a lot. It works so good for sniper support in that close and mid-range hybrid. Hey everyone, quickly wanted to give a shout out to my friends over at G Fuel. We've got our in-game metas that we of course talk about all the time, but we also got to show some love to the out-of-game metas as well. And the most effective tactic available, the meta for staying focused and energized, is picking up some G Fuel. They got a little bit of something for everyone in terms of flavors, but my personal favorites, Hype Sauce, the GOAT. They also just brought back Watermelon Mint, which is absolutely incredible. And lately, I've also been loving the new Sage Mode Hydration Tub as well. There's no caffeine in that, just perfect for staying hydrated. And if you do want to pick up anything for yourself, be sure to throw in code Immortal at checkout for a nice little discount. The link for that will be down below if you're interested. Now, the next couple of loadouts are going to focus on some LMG, SMG hybrids because the LMG category is just full of absolute beasts. The first of which here now is going to be the DG58 LSW. Low recoil, fast TTK across the board. Love it. We paired this with the Swarm, which is still very good, especially for the ultra close range. First 8 meters or so, this thing's feeling really good. And you got 100 rounds, so you can just spray and pray all day long. And I love the feel of that for that specific reason. Nydar model 2023 again here. Glassless works, slate works, whatever you need. I just don't really love the optics all that much. The Reckless 90 long barrel is kind of clutch because it does extend that damage range out to 8 meters where it's got that really fast TTK. Hand stop to get some mobility back. And then I also go for the Jack BFB still on this. Even though this is nerfed, I feel like it works really well with this, keeping it nice and easy to use. That said, Zem 35 compensator would be sufficient here as well. You can go back and forth on those two, and it's just a difference of how you're showing up on the mini-map basically, right? And obviously Jack's adding in a little bit more control, so it just depends on how much control you need in the gunfights that you're taking with the Swarm. On the DG, pretty standard mid to long range setup here. Ruin heavy support and Spirit Fire suppressor standard. Like I said, we got the Woody long barrel helping out with control, velocity, range, and idle sway. That nice 4-in-1 combo there. Primarily long range, going for the 2.5 times optic. Glassless would work if you're playing this a bit more aggressive. And because this gun's so easy to use, I like using the rubber butt plate on here because it is going to help out with the firing aim stability, but also general movement here too. So just makes it a tad bit more aggressive across the board. And I really like the versatility that offers here. A little bit unique to this. Similar loadout, but different weapons. We've got the Holger 26 LMG paired with the base Striker, or the Striker 45. Low recoil, easy to use SMG. Also really good mobility on this as well. Initially here, Zem 35 compensator, no surprises. Hand stop on it here as well for the better mobility across the board. Recon long barrel extends out that efficient damage range where it's going to have that faster TTK, and the velocity some as well for the mid-range. And you can actually use this in the mid-range pretty effectively. 48 round extended mag, and then I also go for the light stock on here as well with the better movement speed and sprint speed. And then over on the Holger, it's going to be a similar set of attachments to the DG, but it's doing some different things here and there. So Ruin heavy support, Spirit Fire yet again. We got the factory barrel, which is range, velocity, and control. Unfortunately, no added sway here, so that's a bit of a drawback, but it is what it is. 2.5 times Eagle Eye Optic, and then I actually go for the Ascent Lord stock here. Instead of mobility, this is just control based. It makes this thing an absolute laser beam. There's like no recoil whatsoever. Idle sway, firing aim stability, gun kick control. It's doing it all. Also, it sounds cool, Ascent Lord. So it makes you feel good. It makes you feel powerful. So, hey, and speaking of which, I mean, the thing is powerful, right? It's got a pretty crazy TTK, so works great for the mid to long range as well. Next up here, sort of my experimental loadout at the moment is the MCW 6.8. It's a semi-auto, so it's got a higher skill gap, but it does fry. It's got a very, very fast TTK. I paired this with the same RAM setup that we covered earlier, so don't need to go over that again. Same exact set of attachments there. But for the MCW here, we're just focused on making this thing consistent over the mid to long range. So Spirit Fire Suppressor, Ruin heavy support is especially useful here because it is semi-auto. That firing aim stability and the idle sway benefits are really going to make this a lot easier to recenter and spam your shots back to back to back and actually stay on target. 60 round drum is so clutch for a marksman. All the other options are very limited in their ammo. This isn't. 2.5 times optic, and then I also go for the assault stock, which is just basic better recoil control, so makes the gun easier to use when you're spamming it. Really, really good TTK. Like I said, it will melt. It just takes a lot more skill to use effectively. And then lastly here, another one of my sort of experimental loadouts. We got the same exact HRM setup that we covered earlier as well, so no need to repeat that. Just feel free to check out the other timestamp. Then I got the BP50. So they nerfed the close range here, but over long range and even in the mid range, it's got one of the best in class TTKs for the assault rifles. So still very usable over range. It's just not a do-it-all weapon anymore. That said, this setup, it's so easy solo recoil. It works well at 50, 60, 70 meters. Spirit Fire Suppressor, the lower 9 heavy barrel with better range, velocity, control, stability on there as well. 45 round extended mag on there. Unfortunately, that's the max. 50 or 60 would go crazy here. I am using the glassless optic just because it's new. I've been liking the feel of this. 2.5 times Eagle Eye would also work. Then I go for the Mote 40 stock with some of the gun kick control on there, the better mobility. Nice little 2-in-1 there for sure. It's a pretty easy weapon, and even though it was nerfed, it still does get the job done quite nicely here. And that being said, those are 10 of the best loadouts to be running here in Warzone post Season 2 Reloaded. That's going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It does really help the channel grow. And if you're new here or you simply have not subscribed yet, let's change that. Hit that sub button on your way out so you can always guarantee you're up to date with everything going on in COD. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.